Hi everyone, welcome once again to my weekly program, Ask the Cheese Doctor in my YouTube channel, Doctor Tercero TV. This is the English version of my program in Spanish that I always do, that I always take at 9:30 New Zealand time. So this is the English version. So if you want to learn how to make cheese and you don't speak Spanish, come to my program in English, then you will learn how to make cheese for sure. I assure you that I'm going to do the best of my knowledge to give it to you. And if you have any questions, just ask here on the program, the show, and I will answer all your questions. Anyway, I'm going to answer all the questions of my audience, and I have questions from around the world every week, and I try to answer them here in my program every week. So, and today we're going to speak about a very young topic, which is smoked cheese. And I'm going to teach you, we only have half an hour, but I'm going to teach you how to smoke a cheese. And of course, we have to learn a little some basics. I have to tell you what is smoking, what is the effect in cheese. But I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna tell it to you in a little while. Okay. So as I said, if you want to make any comments, just comment here on the chat, and I will be very delighted to answer your questions. Okay. Well, we are now 18,600 subscribers. Thank you for the support. Without you guys, we wouldn't have any show. Um, and the last two or three videos are performing very well. I'm going to carry on. Sylvia Petronia. Hi, Sylvia. How are you? And if you speak English, so no problem. If you speak Spanish as well, doesn't matter as long as you do it in English. I'm very pleased that you are here. There's some people connected. Um, but anyway, as I said, we are 18,000 subscribers. Without you, we wouldn't have any show. I really appreciate it. Next week, we don't have program, okay? Because we're not going to have any show next week because it's my birthday. And it's not my birthday. Okay, my birthday, it doesn't matter. But the thing is that I'm becoming 60. I just reached the sixth floor. So even though I feel great, I feel fantastic, and thank God I have health, but I'm gonna have my 60 years old party with my family, my grandchildren, and well, we won't have any show. Okay, let's go. I'm not going to hold you more. Let's carry on. This show is in Instagram. At the same time, we are transmitting from to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you want, spread the voice and spread the word that I am giving the show in all these platforms. So and you just need to follow me in my social media, in Facebook, Dr. Quesero or Dietrich Truxes, in Instagram at Dr. Quesero, and in Twitter at Dr. Quesero, and in YouTube, of course, Dr. Quesero TV. Dr. Quesero means cheese doctor in Spanish. So if you don't know how to write it down, go to Google and it will tell it to you. Manal, hi Manal, how are you? Thank you for the happy birthday for your best wishes. But it's next week. Okay, let's go and let's start with the show. As I said, I'm going to speak about smoking cheese. So let's share the screen, and I hope we are having a good audio. And this new platform that I bought is Restream, so I hope it's giving me feedback about the audio, so the audio should be all right. Okay, let's go and share the screen, and let's start with the presentation. Okay, here we are. As I said, when we make cheese, one way to innovate is to smoke the cheeses. The cheeses give your touch, give your personal, give the cheesemaker personality to the product that you are producing, that you are making. Before I start, if you want to support us with so we can start carry on making videos like this one, you can join my program. You can join my channel here, and you just need to go to the channel, click on the join button, and support us in the category of apoyo. In Spanish is support. Okay, the information is in Spanish, but you can go to apoyo. It means with a. You can also go to Patreon. In Patreon is patreon.com slash Dr. Quesero TV, and you can support us over there. It's just $3 or $4 per month, and you will have access to all the information and before all my videos and information that I don't share in my channel. With I share it to you articles about cheese making, the new ways to make cheese. I mean, a lot of good information that I'm always reading, investigating for myself, and I will share this information for you with you if you support us in the channel, okay, in the show. As I said, you just need to click the button join. These prices are not updated. This is much less. It's free anyway. Okay, but let's carry on with the topic. As I said, when we smoke cheese, when we are smoking cheese, we just have to produce smoke from timber. We have to make a fire. Okay, in general terms, we have to make a fire, a small fire, not fire with flames, a small fire, but we have to produce smoke. Okay, the smoke have ingredients into the timber, into the wood, and it will improve the flavor of the cheese. Of course, we have to expose the cheese to a certain period of time, to a certain time frame, and the cheese will give the smoke will give the cheese a flavor. And another property, another advantage of smoking cheese is that we preserve the cheese with the smoke. Okay, by smoking the cheese, we preserve. So smoking cheese is a very old way of preservation since the Phoenicians. Okay, and by smoking the cheese, we can preserve the cheese. We can also smoke fish, meat, or any type of meat. We can smoke fruits as well if we want. We can smoke anything we want. But what is smoking? Smoke is a complicated thing. From the scientific point of view, smoking is like an aerosol that is produced when the wood is burned. Okay, but it's more than that. Okay, it's a little bit more than that. This aerosol has something that we call ketones, but I'm gonna go deeper in this later on. Okay, so this aerosol have solid pieces that are floating on the smoke, okay, which is a gaseous medium, okay, is gas, more or pretty much gas, but and it preserves the cheese, okay, or preserve any type of food. As I said, it produces alcohols and I'm gonna go deeper in this later. It improves the flavor, okay. The smoke as well reduce the moisture content of the product that we are smoking, because in general terms the smoke that we are using is a little bit hot. Okay, so it will dehydrate the cheese that we are smoking, and as I said, it has a little bit of temperature. Yeah. Now, how we smoke cheese? We have to be very careful when we are smoking cheeses. Why? Because cheese, especially if it is a fresh cheese, if our smoke is very hot, it will melt the cheese. So we have to be very careful, and we will lose the cheese. And by smoking the cheese, As I said before in the last screen, the smoke has a certain amount of temperature. So if we um, apply this temperature to the cheese, we're going to, or we might reactivate the syneresis. Syneresis is when the cheese expels whey and loses water. Therefore, the cheese will lose more water and it will become a mess. So when we are smoking cheese, we have to use cold smoke. Okay, it has to be cold smoking. We can also use liquid smoking or liquid smoke, but these are chemicals that are added to the cheese. I don't like it very much. I prefer to do it the artisan way, which is using cold smoke. To use cold smoke, you have to monitor temperature all the time. Okay, sometimes we have to turn off the light, to turn off the fire, turn it on again. It's a little bit more process, but the difference is yum, very yum. Okay, so when, as I said, when we are smoking the cheese, we can put into the liquid smoke, and it will the cheese will absorb the smoke, and we will improve the flavor. It's not very advisable when we are making cheese. After smoking, just consume the cheese right away. We have to allow the smoke to dissolve a little bit, to be absorbed by the cheese, and to allow the smoke to spread into the cheese evenly. And then after a while, you can eat the cheese. Okay. Um, when we are using liquid smoke, we have to put we have to put the liquid into the milk or into the curd, okay, or sprinkle it into the cheese. It depends what you want. Okay, I have never used it. I prefer to do it the old way, but it also works. Of course, when we are using liquid smoke, it's much faster than doing it in the artisan way. But so what's the fun? If we are making cheese and we are smoking cheese, the idea is to have a little bit of, I mean, to do it the artisan way, because this is where the fun is. Of course, if you're gonna do it in industrial way, and you're gonna smoke 1,000 kilos, 2,000 kilos of cheese, smoking with liquid is a good option because it saves time and money. Okay, but this is another niche of the cheese making process. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about the chemistry of smoking. Okay, um, I'm not gonna go so deep in it. Okay, because there's not the scope of this presentation. I don't want you to go in the biochemical content because it's not the scope. You guys want to learn to make cheese in an easy way, not complicated. This is for for the course of my cheese making course for beginners, or I would say a little bit more advanced. But in general terms, when we are smoking, it said here, what's formed? It's from furans and some acids. Okay, we don't gonna worry about the names. When we are smoking, we form a little bit of acid. It forms a little bit of alcohols. It forms as well. Okay, and phenols is an alcohol here. Phenols are alcohols, and carbonyl groups. These are also alcohols as well. But the thing is, when we are smoking, all this process will improve the flavor in the cheese. This is all the chemical equations and stuff, but that's not the point, the scope of of this screen. So basically, when we are smoking, the smoke will improve the flavor, of course, but the smoke has inside something that we call ketones, and it will protect the cheese. These are alcohols that will protect the cheese from getting fungus and another cross contamination that might affect the 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 the, the maturation, the aging of the cheese. Okay. Um, Here in this, when we are smoking cheese, of course, the cheese will get dehydrated, and usually when we are smoking the cheese, we can see this white spot, which is calcium lactate. These are crystals. Okay, this is produced because the cheese is getting dehydrated due to the heat that it is exposed. Okay, so now how do we smoke cheeses? So to smoke cheeses, we have to, well, we have 20 minutes. It's 11:20. Let's carry on till 11:30, and then we'll see with some questions. We'll answer some questions. So how do we smoke cheeses? The key to smoke a cheese is when we are burning the wood, we have to produce a smoke that is less than 32 degrees. Okay, this is very important. So how do we control this temperature? Very easy. We have to put a thermometer into the smoking gear that we have. I don't have a smoking machine. I use my Barbie. You can smoke cheese with your barbecue. It doesn't matter. As long as you control the temperature, you're okay. You can use a smoker, but if you don't have a smoker, it's not the end of the world. You can use your barbecue, okay? And you can use many type of wood. For example, the avocado wood is very good, and you can use hickory as well. Don't use pine for smoking, because pine has a resin that gives the cheese not a very good flavor. You can use I don't remember now the name of the woods, but we call it in Spanish cedro. I don't know the name in English. But anyway, hickory is a good one. But any type of wood that you can use, okay? When you are smoking cheese, each cheese they shouldn't touch each other, because we have to allow the smoke to go evenly on the surface. You have to close when you are using a smoker. You have to close it up so the smoke is all around on the environment. Okay, or if you are using your barbecue, close it as well. Keep the fire in away from the cheeses, so you only need smoke, not smoke. Sorry, you don't need fire to have a lot of fire. So you can use a smoker like this one. If you don't have one, you can make one of your own. Okay, for example, you can put what I do is you can use like a small container, timber container. Sorry, a small steel container. Put the wood there and light it up. Use a little bit of oil if you want to light it up, and then leave it burn slowly. Okay, and the smoking time, it will depend of the size of the cheese that you use. For example, if you are smoking, let's say half a kilo, you can smoke it for 1 or 2 hours. It will depend on the smoking flavor or of the intensity of the smoking that you want. So, but experience will tell you that. Okay, I don't have an exact number to tell you 1 or 2 hours, but because it will depend on the size of the cheeses that you are smoking. Okay, if you are smoking a block of 25 kilos, you leave it for 2 hours. The cheese is not going to absorb anything. But if you are smoking a piece of 300 grams, 400 grams, half a kilo, less than that, with 1 or 2 hours, it will be all right. Okay. Once you smoke the cheese, you have to take it out from the. By the way, when you are smoking the cheese, don't worry about if the cheese get dark, because this is a smoke. So don't panic, because and it's not contamination. Of course, when you are smoking the cheese, I would suggest that the cheese is dry on the outside, so it can be protected. It's good to have a rind, but if you don't want the cheese to have a rind, doesn't matter. This is your choice. As I said before, you are the cheesemaker, you're the artist, and you do whatever you want. Don't be afraid of to experiment in the smoking process, because this is where the fun is, when we experiment and we try new things. Um, Once you finish smoking the cheese, take it out, let it cool, and then wrap it up with micro perforated paper if you want, um, and then put it in the fridge, and that's it. Label it and put it in the allow it to mature. You can also vacuum pack it if you want. It doesn't matter. If you want to vacuum pack it, don't put it don't wrap it up. Just put it in vacuum pack it. You can vacuum pack it you can cover it with plastic film and then vacuum pack it if you want. But if you because the cheese is dry, or it will depend on on your choice as a cheesemaker. Okay, so but it's good after smoking the cheese. Is a good practice to let it age for a while, maybe 3 or 4 months. It will depend of the recipe of the cheese that you are making. Okay. Well, that's it. This is the end for today. Um, about the cheese making, and let's go to questions. Let me stop sharing the screen. Okay, and let's answer some questions here. Okay, here's a question. Let me see. I have a I don't know this message here. I don't know what is this referring this person. KRCV Merck. I don't know. Sylvia Patronia. I don't know what she's doing. Oh, wow. Something happened with it. Something happened. I don't know what. Anyway, let's answer some questions. If you want, if you have any question, I'm very happy to answer them here. Okay. There's a question here. Can you answer, please, what is the proteolysis? Someone asked this question in my channel. Proteolysis is a very easy and complicated word. Proteolysis is a process when the fat inside the cheese breaks down. What I mean by breaks down, it is transformed along the time. Okay, so anytime when we are making cheese, we have two processes inside the cheese: proteolysis, which is a change in the texture of the cheese along the way, and lipolysis, which is the change in flavor. When we are making cheese and the cheese is finished, we let it ripen, we let it age, and it will change textures and it will improve in flavor. When it change texture is because of the proteolysis. When change flavor is due to the lipolysis. Okay, so it's a change in the texture. The biochemical names and all the transformation, I'm not going to explain it to you because it's the scope of this program is for the cheese making course. But there are a lot of processes over there. When the proteins breaks down, I mean, it gets transformed in smaller chains, and it will change the texture of the cheese. That's basically. Manal here is asking a question. Let me have it here. How can I balance between pH for a curd and the cooking it? Always get the dry curd. Well, that's a trick that experience will give it to you, but I'm going to tell you the secret for that. Look, when you are making any type of cheese, mozzarella, I know that you make mozzarella, but if you are making any type of cheese, you have to have two things at the same time: the right texture and the right pH. When we are making cheese, it's very hard to get both at the same time. It's very hard. So what we do, let's start for example, that we are making any type of cheese, and my pH target is, let's say, 5.3, and we are using the culture. We are any type of culture, and I made my cheese, I curdle my milk, and I get my curd. To do that, the first thing that I need to buy is a pH meter, but not a pH meter with the paper, because this type of pH meters give you a lot of error. So you have to use a more accurate pH meter. I have in my website a pH meters that are very cheap, and you can use them to start. Okay, they cost maybe $30 or something like that. Or if you want to invest in a $200 pH meter, it's all right as well. But you have to measure the curd after cutting. Okay, when you cut and start stirring, your curd will start to compact. Okay, to shrink. It will start to shrink, to expel away, and you have to measure the pH in the curd. Let's At the beginning, your pH should be around 6.4, 6.5, because the bacteria is not awoken yet, or it's awoke, but it hasn't. It's still lazy, and it hasn't started to feed from the lactose and produce lactic acid. So the pH will be high, 6.4, 6.5. It will depend of the cheese of the amount of bacteria that you are using. When the bacteria carry on sorry, when the temperature carry on at the temperature of the bacteria, she will start to wake up. She will wake up and will start feeding acidifying the curd. You have to measure. You have to measure your acidity. At the same time, you have to stir to get the proper texture of your curd. If you notice that you are reaching the pH too fast and you haven't reached the texture yet, you have to stop stirring and let the curd to acidify the curd. Let the bacteria to acidify the curd. Don't carry on stirring. Stop stirring, because if you stir too much, your curd is gonna get too dry. That's why you're getting your curd too dry, because you're reaching your pH, but you're stirring too much. So you have to stop stirring and allow the bacteria to reach your pH target. In this way, you won't lose more weight, and your texture will be okay. By stopping the stir, you're giving time to the bacteria to acidify the curd. And then, if you are already reached, or you're about to reach your right texture, don't stir anymore. Stop the stirring and give time to the bacteria to acidify, and then the curd, in this way you can reach your pH target. But what happens if it is the other way around? If you are stirring, okay, and you haven't reached your pH yet, okay. Sorry, if you stir, if you're stirring and you haven't got your pH, your target, your pH target, but you're about to get the pH target, okay. If you are reaching your pH target but you haven't got the texture yet, because you have to carry on stirring. But if you carry on stirring, you're gonna overpass your pH target. So you have to slow down your acidification. How do we do that? To slow down your acidification, you have to a way to do it is stop everything, take part of the way. Okay, by taking part of the way, you're taking out food. to the bacteria for the bacteria. Take the whey out and put fresh water or hot water. Okay, put hot water, because if you put fresh water, you are going to cool the mix, and then the bacteria will produce acid. So put hot water or the water at the same temperature of the environment. If you are heating at 35, put the same amount of water. If you're taking 1/3 of whey, put replace it with 1/3 of hot water at the same temperature. By adding fresh water, you are taking food from the environment, and the bacteria will not have enough food to feed. Therefore, the process of acidification will slower down to give time to reach the texture that you are trying to achieve. This is the two ways that you have that you can and that you do when you are making this type of, of cheeses. Okay, it's very hard to get the texture and the pH at the same time. It always happens that one of them get reached before the other, so you have to give time to the remaining one to do the, and this is the way to do it. Okay, I hope I have answered your question, Manuel. Okay, let's go with another answer with another question. Sorry. Um, Taking at 35 and 37 degrees, I have to add rennet to my milk. Why is this temperature? Well, this answer is very easy. When you are making cheese, you heat in the milk at the temperature of the bacteria. What happened? When we are making cheese, our milk is in the fridge, especially if we are using milk from the supermarket. It's in the fridge. We are and we are when we are using pasteurized milk, we have to inoculate the milk again with the lactic bacteria to produce lactic acid and therefore acidify our curd. Any type of bacteria that we use have a different any bacteria have a different temperature to grow. We have two type of bacteria: mesophilic ones and thermophilic ones. Mesophilic cultures use a type of temperature, 37. This one that you were telling me. Thermophilic use a higher temperature. So if we are heating the milk, we have to heat the milk at the temperature of the bacteria. Because if we are using, to put an example, if we are using mesophilic culture, which likes to reproduce at between 26 and 29 and 35 degrees, if you heat the milk above this temperature, let's say 45 degrees, you will kill the bacteria and you won't have any acidification in your curd because the bacteria will die. That's the reason you have to heat the milk at the temperature of the bacteria. It doesn't matter what type of bacteria you use. You have to heat the milk at the temperature of the bacteria so they can reproduce and feed from the lactose and grow into the milk. If you don't create the right environment, in other words, if you heat the milk at a different temperature from the bacteria will not reproduce, will not and will not feed, will not awake, and therefore it will not acidify your curd. That's the answer. Okay. Sense to explain anytime. As long as you're here in my show, no problem. I can explain. I can help you out. If you want to learn more, I invite you now to take my cheese making course for beginners. If you want to learn more, and you're going to be part of our community, and you can interact with all cheesemakers from around the planet, including me, and in my Facebook group, and you will be part of our community, and it's a lifetime support. It's not that you finish your program and that's it. No, we're gonna be there forever, and well, as long as I live, okay, or my team will carry on if I die anyway. Um, but you will have our support if you have any issues. Okay, and not only in cheese making, maybe you might have a problem with cross contamination, and you can get advice over there for free. Okay. Okay, let's answer one more question because we are about time. It's 35 minutes. We are almost on the hour. Um, Someone's asking here, Alexis, hi, Dr. Cheesemaker, Dr. Quesero. Thank you for your support. I would like to know, because the message is in Spanish, I'm translating it. Can I make a cheese without salt? Once I have put it into the press and put it in water with salt at 3%, with a mix of oregano for 28 days, so the salt can get into the cheese, and then to take it out and age it for how long? It doesn't say. Okay. Well, look, when you are a salt solution of 3% is a very weak brine. Okay, if you are you can put the I wouldn't suggest um, mixing the brine with the oregano. Okay, I would suggest brining the cheese first in a 20% salt solution. Okay, or a 20% brine solution, um, to get the right level of salt into the cheese. By getting the right level of salt, you will protect the cheese from external bacteria and cross contamination. And then once it's done, let it dry and age it. But the oregano, you can put it in the curd when you are making the cheese. Okay, when you before molding, once you get your right pH and your right texture, put the oregano, mix it, get the curd, put it in the press it, and let it. Once it's finished, put it in the brine for depending of the amount of cheese that you make, and then once it's already brine, or which is already salted, and the cheese has the right level of saltiness. Um, Let it dry for 1 week, turning the cheese every day to allow the cheese to form the rind. Um, and then when it's dry to the touch, you can vacuum pack it or put it in the chamber for aging. Okay, and that's it. You don't have to put it for 28 days in a brine solution, because by doing that, your cheese will be cross contaminated for sure. It will have aerobic plate count, and what is the other one? Well, this gas and penicillin floating on the air. So for sure, your cheese will get cross contaminated. So I wouldn't suggest to do it this way. Do it as I said. Okay. Another saying here, I always get. Let's see. I always get it at the good texture for the core, but not yet getting a pH. Well, if you are getting your texture first, before you get your texture, stop stirring, let the curd rest, and give time to reach the pH level. That's it. This is how you have to do. Stop stirring. Don't stir that again. When you are realizing that you're having the right texture, you just grab your curd and see, okay, it's at the right texture. Okay, but you haven't reached the pH. Okay, stop stirring, leave everything, and give time to the bacteria to reach the pH target. And then, because by stop stirring, you will not lose more weight because the synersis. But don't weigh off yet. Don't drain the whey until you get the real pH. So leave it there, all there into the vat, but stop stirring. In this way, you won't lose more whey, and your cheese will not become drier. Give me your page in the Facebook, please. Dr. Quesero. Like my page, and it's a Facebook page. Or the Trick Trucks that you can find in my social media. I have 2 Facebook pages. My personal one is almost reaching 5,000 subscribers. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to. If you ask me, I will accept you as a friend. But in Dr. Quesero, the Dr. Quesero Facebook page, you just give like my page, and that's it. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Thank you for coming. I'll see you next week. Sorry, next week we won't have any program. We don't have show next week, as I said, because we are having. It's my birthday, so no show for next week. We'll see you in 15 days. But anyway, I'm gonna carry on releasing the videos. You can carry on watching my channel. And if you have any comments, if you want to speak with me, send me an email, drquesero@gmail.com. Okay, thanks for everything, and see you in 15 days. And as I always say, eat cheese, because life without cheese is like a love without a kiss. Take it easy. Bye-bye. See you.
Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesos colombianos y venezolanos, todo hecho en tu casa, con sabor zuliano y calor humano. Los quesos en casa tienen vitaminas, rápidos de hacer, en cualquier cocina. Tan fácil como pelar mandarinas. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero.